Okay, the first one's going to be about getting a message from her brother.
Okay, I think I'm live, everybody. Can you let me know if you can see me?
I can't.
It should be live.
Give it a second.
Okay, it's going to wait a second. Welcome to Halloween. Let's see. I know that there are people waiting.
Says it's waiting for you.
Okay, but what do they want me to? Oh, I see people. There they are. Happy Halloween. Hi, can you see me? Beltane 947, can you see me? Doris Glasgow, somebody just say yes, and then we'll be on our way. Oh, good. They can see me. They can hear me. It's all good. All right.
I'll give it to you.
Okay.
Patty wants to know if she can get a message from her brother who is on the other side of the veil.
Is this the first question?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first question is from Patty. I have somebody moderating, so it's not like I'm talking to myself. But let me just say a couple of things. First of all, these are going to be short 5-card readings. So I will tell you what I can see. I am not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer, and I am not a stockbroker. So please take that into account as well. And if you have trouble phrasing your question, just phrase it the best that you can, and I'll fix it if I need to fix it to make it better. Okay. So what is the
Patty, brother.
Patty wanted to know if her brother had a message for her from the other side. So what I'm doing is I'm just shuffling, and I'm going to show you, like I always do, how I pull the cards. This will only be a 5-card pull. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for the dog, because that is the card for sibling. So Patty, the dog will stand for your brother. So I'm just cutting the deck into 3. Thank you all for coming. Delighted that you're here. Happy Halloween. And we are looking for the dog that will represent your brother, Patty. Oh, popped right up. So this will stand for your brother, putting him in the center. I'm going to move that down so you can see it a little better. And I'm taking the 2 cards that came before him and then the 2 cards that come after him. And remember that this is only a 5-card read, but I think it's pretty good. So we have the anchor, we have the ring, we have your brother, we have the book, and we have Clover. So here's what I think the message is. The message is, first, that he's fine. He's, the anchor keeps us safe and secure. So he's good where he is. Also, that your connection to him is unbroken. It's unbroken. He's in the middle. And then the message is he had no idea that he would be so happy where he is now. I can mirror the first card and the last card. You've seen me do this before. So here's the happiness card, and this is secure, safe, solid. He's good. And he thinks that this thing about me telling you that the connection will never be broken, that it will stay unbroken, he thinks you don't know that. So he's letting you know. He's letting you know. So he's fine. He is surprised that he's as happy as he is, and he is always just a thought away. I hope that's helpful.
Okay. Green Verita has a house with a lot of stairs. Should she sell now or wait a few years?
Okay, what is her name?
Green Verita. Green
Verita has a question about her house, and the question is that the house has a lot of stairs. So I'm imagining, I'm putting myself in your place, and you're thinking, when I get older, am I going to be wanting to walk up and down those stairs? So the question was, should I sell or should I wait? And I just want to let you know that this idea of should I is not always the best way to phrase a question, because you have agency, you have a say in how your life goes. So I'm just going to phrase it a different way. I'm going to say, I'm going to pull 6 cards. 3 will be for if you sell now, And 3 will be if you wait a few years. And we'll just see which option looks better. So I'm going to tilt the camera down. And I'm not using a focus card for this because Spirit knows what we're talking about. So this is about selling now. And these 3 will be about waiting to sell. Okay. So I just want to flip them all over. Okay, interesting cards. These are the cards for selling now. You have the lily, you have the fox, and you have the scales card. Now is the time to really do that cost benefit analysis. I suspect that the market is good now. I also suspect that you could find someone, a broker, to help you sell, and that this would bring you peace of mind, as opposed to waiting until you have to because you just can't navigate your stairs. And I say that because I'm looking at the waiting question. Should I wait? And we have the child, we have the young man, and we have the snake. So this is you saying, I'm still young enough to be able to handle all this. I can do this. Very optimistic card. This also is a very optimistic card. I've got this. I can still navigate these stairs. I'll still be able to navigate them for the next few years. But the thing is, the last card is the snake. So I think you might want to think about putting the house on the market sooner rather than later. Hope that helps. Okay.
Lisa has a new career path. Is it the right path for her?
Okay. So Lisa has a new career path, and her question is this the right career path for her? So I'll tell you, I've had a few in my life. And so, maybe the question is this the right career path for me right now? You should always be willing to look around and say, is this working for me? And then make a 180-degree turn. I mean, one day maybe I'll tell you the story of how I did that a couple of times in my life. But what we're going to do is we're going to look for the moon because that's the card for career, and we'll see what the cards look like around the moon. Okay. So I'm cutting it, and then we're looking for the moon. I'm in my dining room instead of my office where I usually talk to you from. But the energy is still the same. Here's our moon. And I'm taking the 2 cards that came before it, 2 cards that come after it. Okay. So it could be that I didn't shuffle as well as I should have with the last reading, but I actually don't think that. We have, again, this young man, and this is yang energy, sort of positive, assertive. I've got this. I can do this. Now, you may be new in this field. You may feel like, I don't know, maybe you think that everybody knows a lot more than you do, because this is a card sometimes for a beginner or somebody who's just starting out on something. In the center, we have the career card, and we have this card, the scythe. The scythe is the card for the decision. And then we have the letter. So what I'm going to do, I said I wasn't going to do that tonight, but I'm going to pull a clarifier. A couple of clarifiers. Okay. So on the scythe, clarifiers that I have are the older woman and the clouds. To me, this is you saying, think of the Beatles song, will you still feed me when I'm 65? In other words, is this a career that you're still going to be happy with your decision about when you're older? And there are some doubts about that, which is probably why I was called to say what I said to you in the very beginning, which is you can always make an 80-degree turn, right? So there's that. That just is about your doubts. But I will say this, I drew clarifiers on this letter, and we have the bear and we have the key. I think you are probably incredibly well qualified for this career. And I think that you will become a boss, a big shot at this career. So I think you'll love it. But the thing is, remember, if you don't, change it. I hope that's helpful. I think you're in the right place for now. And it's normal to be nervous about that, but nothing is written in stone ever. Okay, who's
Okay.
next?
Dora's dad, Ramon, passed in 1988. Can she get a message?
Okay, this is for Dora, whose dad passed in 1988. And I'm going to use the lily for that. You've not seen me use the lily for this kind of reading before, but the lily is for an older man. He passed, and so we're gonna give him the lily, and we'll see if he has a message for Dora. Okay, so all right, cutting the deck. We're looking for the lily, and that will stand for your dad, Dora, who is in spirit. There he is. Okay. I'm pulling a couple of clarifiers. Okay. So the cards that I have, this is the message from your father. The moon, the young woman, there's your dad, the fox, and the child. So, 88, just saying, was a long time ago. And so I'm going to do some mirroring. So he still has this idea of you as a young girl or a child, even. This is reputation or how people see us. And he still sees you as his little girl. And then we have the second card was the young woman. So he knows that you've grown up, but still in his heart, you're his little girl. And that is mirrored with the fox. And I think that he is just wanting you to be careful about decisions that you make. I mean, like every parent, right? And so I pulled cards on this fox, and I got the mice, and I got the young man. And you know what? I'm going to pull a third because I usually like to pull three. This is making me feel like, in matters of, I'm going to say love, sometimes we have to kiss a lot of frogs before we find our prince. And you may have kissed some frogs. I think that your dad wants to make sure that you don't let past experiences, especially in romance. You might not see, there's no romance cards here. This is what I'm feeling. But he doesn't want you to let fear overtake you, fear of repeating past experiences, or it's going to happen again, because this is the stork. This is about positive change. You may be independent, but maybe a little bit too independent, and trying to figure out who you are, because I can mirror the book which is what we don't know about ourselves, and this is our idea of ourselves. So I think he's the overall message is he still has fatherly feelings towards you, which means protective. And to whatever degree you've been hurt in the past, and I mean, what woman in captivity has not been? He's saying things will get better, and don't be a loner. Don't cut yourself off from people. And if you feel lost, he will help you always to find who you are, to find yourself. Hope that's helpful.
Tony says, good evening from Boston.
Hi, Tony from Boston.
Joe, will my husband get over MAGA and be normal again?
Okay, Joe is asking us. Okay, the question is, and I suspect a lot of people are asking this question, will my husband get over MAGA and be normal again? Well, let's look at your husband. I think of the whole MAGA thing and sometimes as like a fever that needs to break. Once he is no longer on the stage, 45, there isn't anybody who will step up to take his place and sort of hypnotize the throngs of people. So let's just see how it's going to be for him. Okay, so I'm gonna cut. And I'm going to use the older man. I don't know how old he is, but we'll use the older man for him. He popped right up. And I mean, I never say never about anything. We have the sun, we have the lily, there's your husband, we have the letter, and we have the mountain. So here's what's going to happen. As I keep telling you all, you know, a lot of people are seeing him for who he really is, especially with that whole Puerto Rico thing and how he's going to help, he's going to protect women, whether they want it or not. I mean, and we all of us, no matter whether these are our friends or our relatives, we just want some peace in our families, in our homes, in our friend circles. We just want peace. And the thing is that there's your husband. The vote is not going to go his way. The mountain is the last card there. And I think that when I do the mirroring, sun, remember I always say that the sun is like a flashlight, a searchlight. He will in time see that this was just not the right road to go down. I think it will be in time. But can I give you some advice that I'm giving myself? When they come around, these MAGA people, to common sense, the last thing in the world we want to do is say, well, what did I tell you? I mean, of course this happened. What did you think? How stupid could you be? Don't do that. Don't do that. We all make mistakes. We all are susceptible to be swayed by, influences that don't mean us the best. And so I think that the more you welcome him in, and you welcome his questioning of all of these things that he thought, and the kinder you are, the easier it will be for the fever to break for him. Hope that helps.
Peg's friend is dying of brain cancer. Will she live to see her second grandchild sometime in April?
I will say that, so this is a question from Peg. Her friend has brain cancer, and it's been determined that it's terminal. And the question is, will she live to see her grandchild in April? A couple of things. One is that, there is such a thing as the indomitability of the human spirit. So you can get a diagnosis and doctors think that they can tell you how much time that you have, but that doesn't account for the human spirit, A. B, I don't love looking at these kinds of questions because, again, it doesn't take into account the human spirit. C, speaking of the human spirit, whether she is here or in spirit only, divested of her human form, she will see that grandchild and be around that grandchild. That much I know. But I'm going to look, and I'm going to just let spirit give me an answer for this. And also try to avoid asking yes or no questions, because that's just, it's so black and white. But let's see what we get. We're looking at your friend's health, knowing that she's terminally ill, and see what we get. Okay, these are not wonderful cards. We have the cross, the bear, the moon, the snake, and the mice. And I suspect that even if she is here that long, she will be, with the mice and the snake, so debilitated that she wouldn't know what was going on. Anyway, we're talking about brain cancer, if you recall. So just know that even if she is no longer in her human form, in her body, she will be well aware of that child's birth and presence, and I suspect will make herself known so that her children will know, oh, she knows. So, you can even sort of set an intention in advance of that. You can say, Mom, send me a sign. And you can even be specific and say, I don't know, send me a dime or a feather or something like that, or just think of something improbable instead of maybe a dime, something that she would recognize, she would know, and then watch what happens. If she passes, she will send you that sign. She will send her child that sign so that your child will know that her mother is aware of her grandchild's birth.
Pines wants to know the direction and potential of a story they wrote.
Oh, that's a good question. What's their name?
Opines.
Opines. Opines wants to know about the direction and the potential of a story she wrote. So I don't know if it's she or he, they wrote. Sorry. Okay, so I'm always telling you that the book is so weird in Lenormand because it usually refers to things that you don't know, that it's secrets and things like that. But sometimes a book is a book is a book. So we're going to use that book and we're going to just look at its prospects. Okay. So, I'm just going to cut and we're going to look for the book and it will stand for your project, your book project. Okay, so there's the book. Okay, this looks really good. I mean, I get why you ask the question. I mean, every author, and of course I've written a book, starts out feeling great. They've got this idea, they're all excited, they know people are going to love it, and they're just sort of imagining how wonderful it will be when they're this, when they've published this thing and they can relax. But, once you get into the weeds of writing a book, you see that it's not quite that simple. So you've already gone through that. So here's your book. And look what we have. We have the ship and we have fish. I like this a lot. I think that the book will move along. I think it will do well. And I think it will make money because this is the card for money. So seems to me you're absolutely on the right path. I suspect the worst is over. And so just keep on that same path. It looks really good. Good luck.
Fran wants to know if her health will improve or she'll have this condition until she passes.
Okay, again, I'm not a doctor, but I will look. So this is Fran. Okay, Fran, I'm going to look at your health. I'm just going to give it an overall look and see. By the way, there are medical advances that are being made every single day. So, I always talk about intention and, shifting energy with intention in the direction that you want it to go. But, I get it. All right. So I'm going to look for the tree and that will stand for your health. Okay. Looking for the tree. If you've not liked, shared, subscribed to my channel, I hope you will do that. Would love to get to 5,000 by the election. Wouldn't that be good? All right, here's the tree, Fran. And I'm pulling the 2 cards before it and the 2 cards after it. Yeah, see? Interesting. So I have the house, the rider, the tree, the child, and the scales. I feel like this is what I said to you already. This happens to me a lot. Before I pull cards, sometimes I feel called to say a certain thing. And I think it's just my opinion, but then I pull the cards and the cards show the same thing. So I'm like, okay, clearly that was not my opinion. That was just like a preview of what the cards were going to say. So this condition may have been something that has kept you housebound or closer to home than you'd like, right? But there is news coming. I can't tell you when, because as I've said to you on YouTube before, timing is difficult. No matter what divination system you're using, it's not the same kind of time. We live in time on the clock, time on the watch, time on the calendar, but I'm getting information from the fullness of time, from your higher self, from my higher self, which is the part of us that's God. And it's inexact when I try to translate it from one language to another. But there is news coming in about your health. And it's literally what I said. There are new advances all the time, all the time. And that's the card for this. This could be a small improvement or it could be a new advance. And then we have scales. And I think that this is about sort of balancing. I'll give you an example. I have titanium in my back. I had 2 spinal surgeries on my back. I would love to be what I used to be, which is a runner. But those days are gone. And what I have done is achieved balance and been glad that I can walk, I can ride a bike. There are things I can do. Sometimes, nothing lasts forever. So it's about finding balance where you are. But I definitely think that there will be some improvement in the future and that you will not be in the same state that you have been. I think you'll be able to be more out and about because news coming in indicates that. So I will send you Reiki and say a prayer for you.
What's next for Gloria's financial future?
Okay. What's next for Gloria's financial future? Okay. So I'm going to look for fish because fish is money. And this will be your financial future. Okay. Okay, fish. Okay, Gloria, fish will be your financial future. Deep in the deck, but I always say that doesn't mean anything. Don't worry about it. Just is what it is. Okay. So this is your financial future. 2 cards that come before it and the 2 cards that come after it. Okay. I don't think it looks too bad, to tell you the truth. We have the heart. We have the scales. There's your financial future, fish, garden, and anchor. So I think the main thing that I want to say about this is that in terms of how we get money, most of us get money because we work, right? And it's important that you do what you love. They say if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. So if you're not doing what you love, find what you love. Maybe do that as a side gig, something like that, because that will help anchor your finances. Also, we have the scales card. And the scale, we've got heavy coins on the one side, we've got daisies on the other. Sometimes we move and make decisions from this place. Sometimes we move and make decisions from this place. So if this is telling me to watch your spending, to be careful about your spending, and especially when you go out. This is the card for like outside your house. So this would be like DoorDash. This would be shopping, spending money that you don't need to be spending. So I think the message is twofold. I think your financial future will be fine if you do those 2 things. Watch your spending, and then be sure that you're doing what you love and have it be like a side gig. And I think you'll be okay.
Okay. Rising Cat wants to know if she's making the right decision to homeschool her son.
Okay. So Rising Cat wants to know if she's making the right decision to homeschool her son. So I think what I'm going to use for that is I'm going to use the house, and it will stand for homeschooling. And we'll just see what the cards look like around it. These are really good questions, you guys. Okay. I see somebody put a should in there. Change the should while you're waiting your turn. Change the should to ask it another way. Okay. So how will this homeschooling go? Okay, we're gonna use the house for that. Okay. Oh my God. It's it's the last card. I always check the bottom of the deck to see if it's the last card. And here is the last card, which means I'm going to pull the 4 before it. So there it is. And then because it's the last card, these cards came before it. Okay. You know what? I think it's going to go really well. I think you know what you're doing, because this is a card for expertise. I mean, I'm sure you have a curriculum and probably you're in some sort of cooperative or whatever, but whatever part of this operation falls to you, I think that you are well suited to homeschool. This is the last card, so I can mirror this. I think you've got some expertise in this. I don't know if you were a former teacher or anything, but you know what you're doing. We have the man card, and this is yang energy, I always call it, but it's not that sort of foolhardy rushing into something before you know what's all that. I think you've done your due diligence. Think you've thought long and hard about what is best for your son, what is best for you, what's best for the situation. So this feels very sort of confident and self-assured, and it mirrors with the scale. So you have looked at, again, the cost-benefit analysis of this. What are the pros? What are the cons? You probably, if you don't, I'm telling you, get him involved in a homeschool cooperatives. See what the local rules are around involvement in clubs and sports, because I think homeschool kids can take advantage of those things. But I think if you balance things out for him, his social development will be fine, and I think he will be better off for being homeschooled. Also, because that was the last card, I'm always interested in what the center card is, and it's the ship, which is saying, full steam ahead. This is the right thing. It's going to work for everybody. So I think it's a good move.
Dr. Leonise, what direction to take to remedy my health issues?
Well, again, not being a doctor, you guys, I know you think I'm a very teacher-like person. Well, I am. So I hope that what I do, whenever I'm with you, including tonight, is, teach you how to ask questions and teach you what questions to ask. That's a question for a doctor, but what I will do is I will look at your health and just see what's around. Okay. But this is no substitute for medical advice. Entertainment purposes only, YouTube. Okay, so we're looking for the tree. And this is your health. And this is for who?
Dr. Leonise.
Dr. Leonise, just so you know, this is your question. So here's your health. Okay. So we have birds, we have scythe, we have the health card, that's the tree, we have the moon, and we have the mountain. So, it would seem that you have, in fact, of course, consulted medical professionals. That would be all the consultations and things that you've done, and that you've probably hit a brick wall, which is what the mountain would stand for. So I get it. And I'm going to say, this is the card for a decision. But as I've told you all before on YouTube, this is such an ingenious instrument, because it has a curve. This is a blade, that's true, but there's a curve in this blade. And so that it cuts, which is the decision part, once and for all, I'm making a decision, but it also gathers in and it reaps. And so what are you being asked to gather in? We have this moon card. sometimes when we have, and it's kind of what I was saying before, sometimes we have a certain identity about who we are in the world because it's who we've always been. And then we get thrown a curveball. Lots of times the curveball comes in the form of a health issue. And we have to sort of retool and reevaluate and figure out who we are in the face of this new situation. Some things we just have to address. And I see that this is difficult for you. I'm going to say for me, I have pain all the time, especially when I'm walking. But I will say that for me, being in pain has grown my compassion such that I'm right here with you right now. It's not easy being in a physical body. On the other hand, there are some wonderful things that accrue to us because we are in a physical body. And if our physical bodies fail us, cause us pain, cause us suffering, there's a lesson there, and we get to decide what the lesson is. And I think you're being asked to decide, am I going to be sort of defined by this situation, or am I going to repurpose this situation such that it works for me and makes me a better person? Sorry, that's what I see.
Will Kelly find a true friend, a genuine friend?
Kelly, yes, you will find a true friend, a genuine friend. But you know what everybody's mom says? I remember saying this to my daughter. In order to be a friend, have a friend, you have to be a friend. But we will look. The card for friend is the dog. And that is, someone loyal, trustworthy. And so let's look. But again, in order to have one, we have to be one. Okay, so let's look. Who is this for, Kelly?
Kelly.
Okay, Kelly. So we're looking for the dog. Deep in the deck. The friend's even hard for me to find, Kelly. All right, there we go. Here's the friend. Okay. All right. So really nice cards. We have the scales card. And again, if you're a Lenormand purist, you're going to say, what is that? This is the card that I added to the deck. I just thought that we needed a card like this that talks about the fact that we have choices in life. And it's not that our choices are bad, but we have to decide which place are we making the decision from in every moment. Sometimes it'll be this, sometimes it'll be that. That's okay. Just know what you're doing. Be conscious, right? So we have the scales, we have Clover, we have the friend, we have the sun, and we have the garden. Sun and garden are great cards when you're talking about friendship. And by the way, so is Clover. So the scales, well, here we go again. It's the same thing that happened to me before. Remember I said, in order to have a friend, you have to be a friend. The scale has to be balanced in your relationship with other people. This is the card for other people. Okay. It's not all give, and it's not all take. There has to be balance. And so if you've not had balance in your relationship, obviously that's a first step. Now, I really like that Clover's popped up for you because Clover is one of the 3 happiness cards. The lily is one, the bouquet is another, and this is the third. This is the first in the deck is this happiness card. And Clover, we know it to be luck. Here in the West, we call it lucky, but it's also about fun. So, people like to meet each other over like doing fun things, right? Like activities. What kind of things do you like to do for fun? Even if it's something, by the way, that you've never done. What might you try to get involved in? Because at the very least, you will meet people who share an interest in this fun activity. And whether more, deeper friendship pops up because of that, I think it will. I think it can. But at least if you start with some common ground, and that would be what you enjoy doing for fun, I think that your prospects of finding somebody who's really a friend are high. Remember, I always say this is like a searchlight, and here's the garden. So, there's a lot of fish in the sea, so to speak. But if you at least can have that sort of bonding commonality, which is some interest that you have. Like I knit a lot. So, I might go to a knitting group or something like that. Or I might always wanted to learn how to, I don't know, play the banjo. So, and social media is a great place to start. And then from there, you can find real life groups. But there definitely are friends out there for you. Just because listen, just like I said, every woman in captivity has known betrayal and sorrow on some level. Everybody's had issues with friends too. But it doesn't mean that everybody that is out there is not worth your time. I think they are. And again, you have to be one to get one. Hope that's helpful.
C. Katz is a longtime tarot reader, wants to know about starting a new YouTube channel. Will it be a successful endeavor for them and for others?
Okay, good. So this is
C. Katz.
C. Katz. Okay, so C. Katz is thinking of starting a YouTube channel for tarot and wants to know if this will be successful and helpful for her and for others. So believe it or not, the card for that is the stars. And that's because, stars in the sky. It's because the stars are the card for internet and that kind of online connection. It's a modern meaning for stars. Very cool. All right, so let's look and see with an eye towards your YouTube channel. Okay, we're looking for sea cats and we're looking for the stars, and that will stand for a YouTube channel. So here's my star card. Okay, so I pulled 5, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull clarifier. Okay, got it. So we have the stork, we have the lily. Here's your YouTube channel. We have the mountain, and we have the young man. So here's what I'm going to say. I mean, I think that it's very exciting. I mean, listen, I just started 3 months ago. It's very exciting to be on YouTube and to do well. So, the stork is positive change. And I suspect that if you're a reader, you also want to affect positive change in other people's lives, that you want to bring them some comfort, some peace, some ease, all of that. The thing is that we have this mountain. And the thing about a mountain is not the end of the world at all. It's a suggestion that you stop and really think hard about this. So, there are a lot of YouTubers who do tarot, right? I'm not doing tarot. I'm doing Lenormand here, which is why I think that the channel grew so quickly, because you don't see a lot of Lenormand readers. But you want to say to yourself, okay, what is my hook? What would be my niche? What would separate me from other readers out there? So that would be, part of sitting at the mountain would be looking at what other readers do. This is time to do your research and figure out where you can fit in. Because I pulled a clarifier on the mountain and I got the young woman. And this young woman, remember, this is yin energy. This is sort of passive energy, just sort of assuming that, I know tarot and there's YouTube. All I got to do is push a few buttons and poof, I'll be a success. But that's not how you need to approach this. And I know because the 5th card that I pulled is the young man. And this is that yang energy. Like, I'm going to do market research. I'm going to see where is there a hole that my tarot reading could plug into. But I think that once you do that research, I think you'll do well. I'll just pull a clarifier, clarifier on the young man and see what we get. Well, I pulled 3. So I clarified this yang energy card. I got the coffin, the fox, and the child. And this is telling me that, kind of reiterating what I said, is that, you may have an idea of how you think it should go, but you've not done necessarily the market research. And when you do the market research, it will transform what you put out there, the offering that you've got to give. Because apparently, you do have expertise, and it could be in a niche market, right? Like, you don't want to just say, well, the King of Swords is because those are a dime a dozen. Hate to say it, but the people who rise to the top, they have a shtick. They have a niche. They have a certain understanding of what they bring, and you need to figure out what that novelty is, what that new thing is that nobody else is bringing to the table. But I wish you a lot of luck. I'll look forward to seeing your channel when you put it up.
I Am the Storm is concerned about her health and her husband's.
Well, I would say pick one.
Well,
I mean, again, I listen, you all. I'm not a doctor. I'm not playing one here on YouTube. Entertainment purposes only. So what I will do for you, I Am the Storm, is I'm going to pull 3 cards for your health, and I'm going to pull 3 cards for your husband's health, and we'll see what we get. I'm not going to use a focus card. Spirit already knows that we're looking at health. So first 3 for you, and then 3 for your husband. Okay, so I'm just going to cut. Okay, so these top ones will be for your health, and these will be for your husband's health. Okay, so for you, I have the stork, I have ring, and I have the young man. I think this is really positive. The stork is about, when I look in the camera, it's like backwards, so that's why when I pull the stork is about positive change. So that looks like improvement in your health. You may be dealing with something that is chronic rather than acute, because the ring is the card for health issues that are chronic. But I do think that you will be feeling better. These 2 cards mirror each other. And this is, he's hale and hearty and healthy and vigorous. So I think for you, things look good. For your husband, we have the stars, the whip, and the heart. Now, again, I am not a doctor. I will say sometimes stars can refer to cancer. I don't know if that's what we're talking about or not. And the whip is a card for, it's tough. It's kind of unrelenting. But the fact that the heart is at the end, love can heal a lot of things. We are only ever, any of us, here in these bodies for a brief period of time. I don't care if you live to be 100. It's still a brief period of time. But we all go where we go. And I think that, the Buddhists have quite a good lock on how we handle this, which is to live in the moment. Live in the moment and love in the moment for him. For you, I do see improvement for you.
Will Dixie Darling find a loving companion in her senior years?
Will Dixie Darling find a loving companion in her senior years? You know what? Dixie darling, just so you know, I was married for 20 years, and then I was widowed for 14. And I found love in my senior years. So it is possible. So we will look for the heart, and that will be love. And we'll see what's out there for you. Okay, we're looking for the heart for Dixie darling. Will she find love in her senior years? Oh, popped right up. There's the heart. I'm going to tell you what they are in a second, but I'm going to pull a clarifier. Okay, or two. All right, so we have the bear, the rider, there's our heart, the letter, and the tower. And I pulled some clarifiers on the tower. So the bear, you know, when it comes to love, I think, you know, like I said, a lot of us have been, you know, done wrong in love. And you may have taken a lesson from that, you know, a message from that. Sometimes this is the card, for example, for the narcissist. And so, you know, the message that you may have taken from experiences with narcissists are, you know, every apple's a bad apple, but that's not true. Okay. Now, the heart is, of course, in the middle. And then we have the letter. And I can mirror the letter with the rider. So I'm going to tell you something that you're going to be like, oh, you're going to roll your eyes and you're going to say, oh my God, that's so woo-woo. But I mean, I'm reading cards, so of course it's woo-woo. You know what you need to do? Write down what you want in a person, in a partner. And nothing is too trivial to put down. You can put down their height, their gender, their weight, their clothing style, what they did for a living, what color their eyes are, what food they like. Write it all down, because the energy, the universe, and I've said this before on YouTube, the energy's language is vibrational. So if you take the action of actually writing it down, and you don't have to do it all in one sitting, like you'll say, oh yeah, wait, there's one more thing I want to add. Just keep a running list of what you're looking for, and it will start to shift the energy in the direction that you want. First of all, it will tell the universe that you're over being alone, probably because of bad past relationships, that you're over being alone. And it's all backwards when I look at the screen, sorry. And if you write it down, it shows intention, and it moves the vibration. Now, the other thing I did was I pulled a couple of clarifiers for the tower, and I pulled the house and the bouquet. So here's what I want to say. First thing you want to maybe put on your list is just someone that you're comfortable with, someone who feels like they are home to you, and also something that understands that you, my dear, are a gift. Because I suspect you may have been with people who did not make you feel that way, that you were a gift. But you are a gift to any relationship. So write down what you were looking for, write down what you offer, and then watch the energy shift. Hopefully the next time I do these readings, you'll be able to say, I met someone. I hope so. Good luck.
Tam's husband died 4 years ago, and since then she's felt lost. She wants to know what's coming up
What's coming up
in her future.
Well, I mean, everything.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, what's her name?
Tam.
Tam, as a widow, someone who was widowed suddenly, and stayed widowed for 14 years till I found love again. I completely get it. What is coming up for you? Life. everything. And there's no timeline, So if people are saying to you, "Oh my God, it's been 4 years. Come on, snap out of it." Don't listen to them. But it's also true that you can get, it is possible to get stuck in magical thinking, like thinking that they're going to walk in the door at any minute, or they didn't really die. We do weird things with our minds, right? I suspect that you were asking me about love. And so that's what I'm going to look for, because otherwise, you wouldn't have brought up the widow part, right? So let's, I'm going to use the heart again, but this time it's charged with Tam's energy instead of the previous viewer. Okay. Oh, sorry. So we're looking for the heart. Okay, these are really lovely cards, and they feel resonant to me. So the coffin, this is the universe acknowledging that you have been a widow. Also, I feel like this might be your deceased spouse saying you can move on. You can move on. I went to a medium once, and I think I might have been 7 years widowed at that point, and it was in Casadega, Florida, which is this big spiritualist community. And she's a little teeny old lady, and my husband came through, and he said, "We're not. What did he say? We're not chained to each other for eternity." And I thought, well, that's mean. Yes, we are. But he was trying to say, listen, we had 20 years. That was great. But you still are here in the land of the living. I'm doing my thing there. And, and somebody's ringing the bell because, it's Halloween. And it's okay to move on. It's about making the decision, though, to move on, right? The scythe is about making a decision. But I will say that your late husband wants you to be happy. And this is a certain kind of happiness, right? We talked about the clover, we've seen the bouquet, but this is a different kind of happiness. I think your late spouse wants you to be content, at peace, at ease, and so that they can be as well. So is something coming in? Yes, but you have to make the decision that it's time to move on. This is the decision to move on. Hope that's helpful.
Okay, this is Julie. Big changes for me across the board in all relationships. What is the probable outcome of these changes? Julie.
Okay, I can't answer that. I'm going to tell you the question. I know you all didn't hear it. Julie says that she's got lots of changes coming up all over the place, and what's going to be the result of these changes. That's not a great question to ask someone in my line of work, because, just as I said to the previous questioner, there are changes happening all the time. What's going to happen to you next? Everything, life. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be nice. And, we have only like 4 minutes left. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the moon, because the moon, sometimes people will come to me and they'll say, what is my purpose? And, the personality part of me, my ego, wants to say, to live and love. That's your purpose. It's all of our purpose. But nobody's asking my ego what it thinks. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to use, for that kind of question, I'm going to use the moon. So I'm going to use the moon for you. And, where are you going? What is your purpose? We'll try that. Okay, so I'm looking for the moon. This is for Julie.
Yes.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so, I mean, your question was sort of ambiguous. And so my answer is going to end up being sort of, it'll sound philosophical to you, but I think that's okay. So we have the tower, the lily, the moon, the anchor, and the book. And so I think what they want me to say to you is, if those of you who read tarot are familiar with the tower card, the Lenormand tower is really different. It's not on fire. Nobody's falling out of it. It's not falling apart. It's a sturdy, stalwart, strong structure. Is that for alliteration? You are being asked to exercise some autonomy. I suspect that you might feel, because of all these changes that are going on, kind of flung around, just like flung all over the place. And this is the card that is saying, plant yourself. Plant yourself. Cultivate your independence and your own 2 feet. You've got this. The universe has got you. So just plant yourself. Find a peaceful space. Like I talked about this whole election thing, and I said, I'm very calm, because either way, listen, either it'll go the way we want, and that's great, or we'll know where we are and we'll know who people are. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I'm sitting in the eye of the storm, and that's the lily card, in that peaceful place with chaos going all around you, with all of this change. You want to cultivate some inner peace and autonomy, because that will help anchor you and give you peace when you don't know up from down, left from right, who's on first, and what to do next, right? Because that's life. We think we have it all figured out. What is, there's a poet, which one? I don't know. He said, who wrote who wrote Of Mice and Men? The best laid plans. No, but it's from a poem by an English. The title Of Mice and Men comes from a poem. I can't think of his name, but I know the line. The line is, the best laid plans of mice and men geaft agley. He was Scottish. Who's a Scottish poet?
Burns.
Yes, Robert Burns. The best laid plans of mice and men go after glay, which means the best laid plans of mice and men often sort of go by the boards and have to get thrown out the window because something comes up. This is life. And what we have to do is cultivate that peace in the midst of life's storm. So I think that that's really the point. In so much of our life, we don't know what's happening next. But if you can cultivate that sense of peace and calm and quiet, you will be anchored in any storm. That's your purpose. And it's probably why all of these things are happening around you, because things happen to give us opportunities, right? To learn lessons and to grow. And I think in this moment, that's your lesson right now.
One more.
Okay, my wing person says one more.
Angela wants to know if there are messages from her spirit guides that she needs to hear to help with her current problem.
Well, I mean, the short answer is yes. The short answer is yes. And let me say that these answers are all around us. I just think it's important to pay attention to signs. Like when I fell in love, after being widowed and all that, I was thinking about moving, like completely moving, changing. And I moved from the East Coast to the West Coast, sold all my possessions, sold my house, scandalized my daughter. And so I was still on the East Coast and thinking, this is crazy. Am I really going to do this? And every morning for several days, a bird would knock on my window, but I'm not saying not bang on my window. Like would check the window to make sure that it didn't break the glass. I was worried that it would break its beak. And I said, well, okay, for the first morning, okay, whatever, maybe it's lost. But then it came back and back and back and back. And I said, you know what? I know what these birds are. These birds are my late husband and all the grandmothers of my line saying, girlfriend, do it. Go, do it. And it was the best move I could have made. My point being, there are signs and symbols around all the time. Are there, let's just, you know what? I'll pull 3 cards for you. I will, by the way, I see this is a big thing and people liked it. I will do this again. How about New Year's Eve? So if you didn't get read today, I'll do it again New Year's Eve. But for now, let me look at them. I'm just going to pull 3 cards. These are 3 messages from your guides. Oh, you know, we wish you peace. We wish you ease of spirit. I don't know if you are a woman, but we wish you this, Angela. Okay. We wish you this kind of energy, settled, calm, yin, open, receptive to what? Happiness. And by the way, this is a lesson that all of our guides would want to give us, because they all want us to be happy, you know, to be happy and to be peaceful, especially in the midst of the storms that we find ourselves in these days. So I hope that helps, Angela.
You have lots more. You have a lot of people thanking you.
Thank you so much for coming, you guys. This has just been really fun for me. The hour flew. I will totally do it again. Bear in mind, on my YouTube channel, you know, the regular one, I don't do personal readings. I'm just, you know, I'm reading for all of us, you know, collectively now on the election, but absolutely on its aftermath, as well as issues around the world, because we don't just live in a little, you know, American bubble. What's going on in the world? What does John Donne say? You know, any man's death diminishes me because I'm involved in mankind. So I'm happy to be involved in mankind in this way with all of you. You've been really kind and generous with your comments and your showing up for me, and I will be showing up for you. So thank you so much, and I'll see you on the regular channel soon. Take care.